Don't let your emotions get the best of you. To supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Our idiom today is don't let your emotions get the best of you. This idiom, again, doesn't have a specific origin, which is getting to be frustrating because I feel like for the last couple of weeks, almost every idiom I've selected, maybe it's because they're newer idioms, I don't know. No, because yesterday's went back to biblical times, so I don't know. They're just not being specific, or maybe the internet has got too much information and they can't find the way of sorting it out so that we can find a solution in a quick and easy manner. Maybe AI will help us do that. So anyway, what does this mean? It dates back to the time when people believed that our emotions could actually cloud or mess up our behavior. Well, I don't know what's changed because I see that every day. Even I still do that sometimes. I will let my emotions get and take over my conscious brain and my thinking, and I will say or do something stupid or that I regret. I do it less and less the older I get, but come on, we've all got experiences where we've done that in our life. The trick is not to do it in our business. We're supposed to be the role models and set the example. So if we are a hothead, or if we're behaving in ways that we don't want the people that work with us to behave, we're going to get into trouble. You know, it's just like we say, do as I say, not as I do. Guess what? That doesn't work for anybody. Doesn't work on our kids. Doesn't work for our teachers to tell kids. It doesn't work for anyone in a position of leadership to behave in a way that's contrary to what they're telling other people to do. You know, it's like politicians tell us to do one thing. The media tells us to do one thing, yet they're doing just the opposite. So how do we go about showing up and putting our best foot forward whenever possible, especially when we're dealing with challenging or stressful or difficult situations? And guess what? We've got a whole lot of practice with this in the last couple of years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. If anybody thinks that they're going to start and grow and build and supersize a business without facing challenges and roadblocks and setbacks and problems, they're absolutely crazy. There isn't a business owner, a successful business owner I know, that hasn't had to overcome challenges and figure things out and solve problems along the way. So how do you handle stressful situations? I'm going to share 8 tips, 8 things that you can do to handle stressful situations. Why? Because it's in the stressful situations that we tend to lose our you-know-what and not do or say the right thing. So what's the first thing we do in an emergency? And I think of my big emergency that I think of, that I always go back to, that I applied these steps to, was when one of my team members cut off his finger. Right? He cut off his finger, and it was a high-speed manufacturing plant, and we couldn't find his finger. So we had to shut down production, tear everything apart, recall everything we'd made, because he wasn't sure when he had lost the tip of his finger, because he was hiding it from us, to figure out and make sure no product was tainted, etc. Get him to the hospital, find his finger, get it sewn back on, etc. So if I would have lost my head, never could have managed and helped us through that situation, and he wouldn't have his finger today, which he does, by the way. It was traumatic, but we got through it. And I learned in that experience that maybe from when I was a kid, I would get hurt and do silly things like step on a nail that went through my foot. That if you're calm during the trauma or the drama, you can react afterwards, right? And you'll get a much better result. So stay calm. Maintain a positive attitude, right? We're going to find the finger. We're going to find the finger. Relax, everybody. Clean up the blood. We're going to find the finger. Number 2. All right, this was, 40 years ago too, so everybody wasn't afraid of blood back then. Number 2, take a step back and assess the situation objectively. Whenever we're in a stressful situation, the best thing we can do is take a deep breath and then get rid of the emotional things, calm ourselves down, and focus on what do we know for sure? What is the most urgent thing we need to do? Number 3, clearly communicate your thoughts and feelings. What's going on? All right, this is an emergency. We need to keep our heads and get this dealt with now. Number 4, listen actively to others involved in the situation. So if I wouldn't have listened to the other team members, which it was really helpful because they actually knew about the time that this person had cut off their finger. They weren't sure, but they had seen a trail of blood to the bathroom, so they knew something had happened and they remembered what time that had happened. So that was valuable information in terms of dealing with the current situation and locating the finger. Identify and prioritize key issues. Now, in an emergency situation like that, are you going to sit down and flipboard this out? No, you're just going to know what's most important, find the finger, get him to the hospital, Get him to the hospital. Stop the bleeding. Get him to the hospital. Find the finger. Get the finger to the ice and to the hospital, etc. Number 6, brainstorm and consider multiple options. What do we need to do? What is possible, right? And then 7, make a decision and take action, right? Think about your options, then decide and take action immediately. And then finally, evaluate the outcomes and learn from the experience. Well, we actually had a team meeting, all of us, including the person that cut off his finger, and we used this as a huge learning experience. 1, the importance of safety and following the safety rules that are in place for a reason. 2, how to deal with when something happens, even if you think you're at fault, that causes an injury, and what we're going to do about it. So although we did find the finger, we did get the finger sewn back on, everybody was a little bit traumatized by the situation, but we turned it into something that was good and a learning experience for everybody, including me, of the importance of being a role model, keeping your calm, doing all these things on the fly, especially during stressful and emergency type situations. So that's our topic for today. Don't let your emotions get the best of you. You know, what was happening inside of me? I was freaking out, right? I was freaking out and thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen if we don't find this finger? He's not going to have a finger. What's going to happen if the finger ends up in somebody's product? Oh my God. So none of those things were an option, so we had to deal with them. But I was freaking out on the inside, but very calm and relaxed on the outside. And I told everybody that. I said, you guys, because they're like, how could you stay so cool after I'd, taken him to the hospital and gotten back? And I'm like, because it wasn't the time to freak out. And that's what you do. You deal with the problem at hand to the best of your ability, and then you can go home and cry and freak out later. All right, that's it. I'd love to know your experience with this particular idiom. Have you ever let your emotions get the best of you? I totally have, so many times, but usually it was in like my personal relationship, screaming at my ex-husband, which still makes me laugh. So I only did it a couple times, had that out-of-body experience where you're actually yelling at someone and you're like, I can't believe I'm yelling at, oh my God, this is really me yelling at this person. So sometimes all of us experience our emotions taking over, but when we're leading, when we're building our business, when we're supersizing our business, when we're being a role model for other people, we want to make sure we keep that in check. All right, have an awesome day. And that's why I have the dragons flashing on my head to remind me that inside of us, there's all different dragons and creatures. All right, have a great day. I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye.